gas industry, probably like any other industry, we want to get the job done. Everybody just wants to get the job done. And sometimes you end up putting blinders on, right? And that's where you run into problems.
You could be in a situation where you're doing a large meter set, a fitting job, where there's usually 2-3 people that could be on that job doing it. You can look at that and evaluate that, whether you're the helper, whether you're the fitter, whether there's a welder there with you doing this particular job, that you could take a step back and say, I'm not sure why we're doing this.
Sometimes we become complacent, and a lot of the people on a job site from beginning to end should be watching. I'm in construction, so it's should be watching the traffic, should be watching what's coming on and off the truck, the boom swing of the backhoe, who's next to the hole, whether there's a ladder in the hole or not. Just all the aspects of the job and making sure that everyone's focused.
And instead of just assuming that the guy next to you knows what he's doing, or the third guy on that job knows what he's doing, take a step back and say, hey, you guys, I have a question. Why are we doing this way? I've done it before a different way, or potentially anything that you see, you're saying, it doesn't look right to me. Let's just take a time out and discuss it and make sure we're all on the same page.
Anyone, no matter how many years you have in the company or how many weeks you have in the company, anyone can call a safety timeout. If somebody sees something wrong, they need to call a safety timeout and use the hand signal to announce it. Everybody stops temporarily, huddles together, talks about the situation on hand, whatever it may be, whatever the concern is. Talk about it, remodify the job brief if needed.
Say you're excavating to install some dead pipe around some facilities, whether it be company facilities or someone else's facility. Conditions change where you're excavating and you locate your gas main at a different depth. Maybe you might have to bring out some additional sheeting or lumber or a box to put in the ground to keep the walls and everything from caving in.
So the beauty of a timeout is really meant to open up conversation with the crew. I may see something that you don't see, and then if you have that discussion, hopefully it gets mitigated and it's taken care of. We had an ice storm, if you will, last night. You may say, oh, we're gonna set up, we put our cones out there, we're ready to go to work. And maybe one of the newer guys, older guy, may say, hey, time out. Maybe we should get some rock salt and throw it around the job site so we don't have any slips, trips, or falls.
Job looks unsafe, I'll stop. I'll tell the guys, I'm very vocal, I'll say, hey, that's enough, let's stop, let's look this over. And I try to get everybody's heads together to see how we can make it better and safer. One time it was a 12-inch gas main, 99-pound main that the weld had cracked. And when I got up there, it was on fire already. And we have to make it safe. I had to call the supervisors. We had to get gas systems operator, know which valves to shut down. It was a tense situation. So me and my one mechanic, we had to make sure we were communicating together and not getting lost in the fire or anything like that.
Our areas, in a lot of areas, you have very old, very dark basements, very rickety stairs. You've got to be very careful of your surroundings. If you get into a basement where there's a lot of equipment that you're not familiar with, or you just don't like it, you just have that feeling that something's going wrong here, get out.
Safety timeout, anybody could use, because it's about keeping not just yourself, but others, keeping them safe from sometimes themselves. So they shouldn't be afraid to use it. I know it's a hurdle to overcome, but they should be taught how to use it and the appropriate time to use it. Because what I think is unsafe, another may not see the same way, but it should still be treated as a potentially unsafe act. And they should take the moment to address it and then move forward.
This goes in hand with being inside a building. Many times you're in a building replacing a gas meter and you have to wear hearing protection. And the hand signal safety timeout is a great way to display a safety problem and stop the job temporarily.
When you're a new employee, right, there is an awful lot of pressure to fit in. You go to AET, and you learn all the rules, the regulations, the policies, the procedures, and then you're out in the crew, and maybe you see something wrong, but you don't want to say anything because you want to fit in. There's an enormous amount of pressure to fit in because you're the new guy on the block. But we need you to call a timeout. We need you to call a timeout. We would be there for them.
So that timeout is really awesome because not only can I call it at a lower level that I'm at, everyone on the job can call it.
It's a simple conversation that can last 30 seconds, but that simple conversation can prevent a lot going forward.
I'm not afraid to take a safety timeout. Timeout is important for every aspect of this job, especially if you want to go home safe.
Safety begins with the individual, and everyone else benefits from it. You keep yourself safe, and then you keep others safe at the same time, extending outward from there, and also keeping yourself safe to go home.
It's important for us to leave work the same way that we came to work, in the same condition. No one should get hurt on the job. Once you see that sign, that's when you know it's time to stop and talk.